hope you don't mind pop-ins.
Right, here's a question for you. Was the Xbox Game Showcase from last week as bad as people are saying it was? Well, I think the simple and quick answer to that is possibly yes. But I think it's actually a little bit more interesting than that. And I think we need to address the elephant in the room to start with. And I think this is why I think a lot of people saw it in a bad light. And that's Halo Infinite. Now, I was watching the showcase with my lad and with his cousin, and they actually were both quite excited for Halo Infinite, especially my lad's cousin, who's been playing Halo for years and loves every single game and knows all the lore, and I couldn't keep up with him, basically. He was telling me all sorts of stuff and picking out Easter eggs and all sorts of things that I had no idea about, telling me all about the guns and whatnot. And I'm never that into it. I can't get into games to that degree anymore. Too old and long in the tooth, and I haven't got the memory for it. But he was very excited for it. I, on the other hand, I watched it back, and I watched it several times. I watched the initial stream, and then I went back and I watched it again with a higher res video. So I'd get it as best as I could so I could see it in the best possible light. And for me, every time I watch it, it's disappointing. You know, the pop-in, especially when he was going, you see it in a lot of places, but especially when he's going up in the lift, you know, Master Chief's going up in the lift and you look over to the mountains and you can see the pop-in. The character models are, well, they look low res to me. They don't look very good. And the pilot, specifically at the beginning, looks lower res than it did in the previous Halo trailer that we saw. So there looks like there's been a downgrade there. The lighting didn't look all that great. Now, I've since watched Digital Foundry, and I know that they're talking about ray tracing maybe making it look better. And I hope that's the case. It's a very in-depth video and very interesting as well. So hopefully that can improve things. But lighting is not going to improve character models. Not to that degree anyway. It may improve them a bit, but it's not going to add detail. And it's certainly not going to solve the issue of pop-in that we were seeing all throughout that trailer. Now, I know some people have said, oh, that was a trailer from back in January, which begs the question, why are they not showing later stuff? And part of me's hoping that next month they're going to show us some more and say, that one, we were pulling the wool over your eyes and this is what it really looks like. But I'm honestly worried. I think the game, well, it looked pretty ropey, to be honest. And I don't want to be down on the game, but, how many Sony PlayStation games look better? How many Xbox games look better? Halo 5 looked better. Gears 5 certainly looked better. And I know they've gone open world this time, but if we're talking about open world, a game that they talked about later on in the showcase, Destiny 2, that looked better. And that's an open world game. So it's the same type of thing. And while we're at it, let's talk about that. They're looking to make this as an ongoing thing that lasts for years. Well, I certainly won't be playing it for years if it looks like this. And let me be honest here. This whole idea of games as service is over for me. I'm not interested. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm not bothered. I want to buy a game and play a game and have it done with. And that's my personal take on this. But nothing about Halo Infinite made me excited. Honestly, it didn't. There was nothing there, either graphically, story-wise, nothing that got me excited. Okay, it looked like Halo. Well, it looked like Halo bloody 1, for crying out loud, almost. And that's without the uprated graphics. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. But that, for me, that kind of coloured the way I saw the rest of the showcase. And so I had to go back and kind of say, okay, forget about Halo Infinite for a minute. Let's look at the rest of it. And we had a whole host of other games. And, there were a lot of other games. Unfortunately, though, Microsoft did something that Phil Spencer says he doesn't like doing, and something that Sony do all the time, is show a lot of stuff that's a long way out. State of the Decay. The teaser trailer was cool, looked brilliant. and it was exciting in and of itself as a piece of work itself. It was great, but didn't really tell us much about the game, and that's an awful long way off, obviously, from this. There was no gameplay, so we know, it's a long way away. And if it's just more State of Decay, I like State of Decay 1, but 2, well, I didn't really play it. Forza Motorsport, the same. It was a teaser, all in engine, so what? It's a long way off. Everwild looks lovely, but what's it about? Then we had something called Tell Me Why, which, well, I like the music, and that's coming, well, today as I'm recording this. Ori update for Series X, they were talking about that. It looked okay. If you like Ori, then you're going to like that. The Outer Worlds, Peril on Gordon. I like the trailer for that, and I like the humour that we're getting, so that was cool. But, it's a trailer for DLC, basically. Grounded is coming on the 28th, which is tomorrow as I'm recording this, and that looks okay, but that's an early access on Steam and a game preview on Xbox. So it's not the full game, it's, well, you jump in and try it out and tell them what you think, and maybe they'll make it how you want it. But, I've got no real problem with that. Avowed is also a long way off. We got the teaser for that and nothing else. There's no gameplay there. When's it coming? 2023? Well, RPG fans are going to be really happy with it, and I'm happy we saw it, but it's a long way off. But I said this earlier, I'm going to repeat it. This is what Sony do all the time. So let's not be too hard on Microsoft for showing us stuff that's a long way out. Sony have showed us stuff that hasn't appeared for 7 years. So, let's have a level playing field here and criticise Microsoft when they do things, criticise Sony when they do things, but don't criticise Microsoft when they're doing things that Sony gets praised for. That's not how I want it to be. That's not how it should be. But anyway, let's move on. We got something called As Dusk Falls, which, well, for me, that didn't really do anything. I hated the art style. And I know art style's subjective, but, it was by a company called Interior Night, and they're ex-Quantic Dream devs, apparently. And I'm not a great fan of Quantic Dream stuff, as a general rule. Some of it's all right. But, I could take that one or leave it. Ninja Theory didn't really give us anything more about Hellblade. They said, there's going to be a dev diary up and you can go and look at that if you want to. Yeah, well, fine. I'm not really bothered about that. I want to see gameplay. Obviously, again, that's a long way off. Psychonauts 2. Tim Schafer's long-lost brother singing the music. Jack Black, that is. Great. I love the music. I love the vibe. But I'm not going to get too excited for it at this stage because who knows when we're going to see it? 2023? I don't know. Could be next year. Who knows? They've not given us a date. So it could be a long way off. And then we got to the third-party stuff and back to Destiny. That's coming to Game Pass. Great. Excellent. And it's coming to the Series X. They're getting an upgrade for that, and it's going to include all the expansions. And plus it's getting cloud play. Brilliant if you're a Destiny fan. I'm not, so I'm not really bothered. But let's be honest. Destiny 2 is quite an old game now, and it already looks better than Halo Infinite. How can Halo Infinite look worse than Destiny 2? Explain that one to me. Seriously. But anyway, look, I don't want to harp on that again. We got with the third-party stuff, and these are all third-party games that are going to be presumably timed exclusives for the Xbox. So this is something they're doing that I thought they'd moved away from as well, which is odd. But, interesting. We got Stalker 2. That looks good, actually. Again, it was just a trailer, but it was a great trailer. Who knows when that's coming? Warhammer 40,000 Dark Tide, sorry. And that looks like a Warhammer FPS, perhaps, which could be cool. Again, it was a really good trailer, and that's coming next year, 2021. Tetris Effect, which is apparently a good game. I've not played it. I've actually got it on my Switch, I think. But I like Tetris, so hey. And the trailer for that, if we're talking about the trailers, never mind the games themselves, but the trailers, the actual trailer for that was really well done. So if you're looking at this from a point of view of a show, then the trailers themselves, nearly all the trailers, forget Halo Infinite, nearly everything was well done. And the one for Tetris Effect was particularly well done with the windows making Tetris shapes with all the people playing. So that was cool, and that's coming 2020. How many people are going to be really excited for that? I don't know, but it looked pretty cool. As is the case with the Gunk. Not my type of thing. Love the music. Not that fond of the art style, though it was good, just not for me so much. Could be okay. The Medium looked scary. Had a very interesting premise. We had a tiny little bit of gameplay there, but you had to kind of squint to find it. Phantasy Star Online, I couldn't care less about. And again, I have to say, though, that looks better than Halo Infinite. Sorry, guys at Halo Infinite, but well, anyway, look, I'm going on about that again. Again, we got some gameplay with that, but not an awful lot. Crossfire X was the one for me, though. This was the standout for me because the campaign for this is being done by Remedy, and I was already excited for this. And this looks great. If the campaign is good, and I expect it to be, given that it's Remedy, then I'm going to enjoy this game. And if the online's good, then I might even dip into the online, even though I'm not a great one for playing online these days. And that's coming this year, presumably the end of this year. So I'm actually, of all the things I saw, that's the one I'm actually excited for. And that was something I hadn't even had on my radar a year ago, 6 months ago even. So that's quite exciting for me. The thing that really stands out in all of this, though, is every single one of the games that they showed, and they banged on about this, and actually during the state of the conference, or during the course of the conference, I should say, I actually turned to my lad's cousin and I said, he's going to say Game Pass. As soon as Phil Spencer came on and started talking, I said, he's going to mention Game Pass. And sure enough, he did. Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, and more Game Pass. And that's the thing that struck me for this, was that this was the Game Pass show. Everything about the show was about flogging Game Pass. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Microsoft now are about selling us Game Pass, whether it be on PC, whether it be on Xbox, whether it be through xCloud on your phone. That's what they want you to subscribe to, and that's how they want you to play your games. That's why, for me, it's an odd one, because starting with Halo Infinite and it being underwhelming makes me worry, because I wonder, are they putting the same effort into the games for Game Pass as they would if they had to flog them? And I don't know. And I'm hoping that that's not the case. I'm hoping that Halo Infinite is just one of those things and they need to work on it and bring it up to date. And if it's a live service, they might, improve the graphics as time goes on. And I hate that idea. Games should release working and fully fledged and fully formed. They need to put these games out fully formed in order to sell us Game Pass. Why am I subscribing to a service if the games aren't going to be as good as they would be from the likes of Sony? Let's be honest. The stuff that Sony have been putting out have been fantastic. And I know I've been critical of Sony with Miles Morales and saying it should be available on the PlayStation 4 as well. I don't see any technical reason why it shouldn't, but it still looks great. And, the original Spider-Man game looks great. It looks better than Halo Infinite, let's be honest. And God of War? God of War's on the PlayStation 4, and that's a semi-open world game. Horizon Zero Dawn, that's an open world game. That looks better than Halo Infinite. So, I don't know. I do think that this whole showcase was tainted, certainly for me, by Halo. And the rest of it, the rest of it wasn't fantastic, but it wasn't awful either. It was pretty much what you'd expect from a showcase. And I don't think the rest of it, apart from Halo Infinite, was that much worse than what we got from Sony the other week. So I think starting with Halo was a mistake, because I don't think Halo has been fully cooked yet. I think it's underdone. And I'm not even sure that it's going to be ready for release on the day of release, and they're going to have to do some work later on down the line. And maybe people will go, oh, wow, it's part of my Game Pass. So what do I care? I'll play it and have fun with it, and then later on down the line it'll look better. I hope that's not the way they're approaching it. I do think that maybe they're pushing it out the door because they want something to release with the Xbox Series X. Because, they've been criticised for that before. When the Xbox One X came out, what did it have? Forza? That was it, really. Forza. So, maybe that's what this is all about. The other thing though, and I have to mention this, all the stuff about Game Pass, they did mention that a lot of games are going to get optimized for the Series X. So pretty much day one, there's going to be 100 games optimized for Series X. That's the way they were presenting it anyway. So that is actually a good deal. This whole idea that, with Game Pass again, if you've got Game Pass, you're going to have a whole host of games going to be optimized day one. And some of those games you may have played, some of those games you won't have played, but that's a bloody good deal. And even if you don't buy the Series X, you get Game Pass, you've got all those games, and they'll be looking better when you finally do get round to getting a Series X, or you update your PC or whatever it might be. That's a good deal, the way I look at it. So I'm in two minds, basically. I think that the trailer was okay. I think the trailer was all about selling Game Pass, and I think a lot of people missed that point. And Game Pass is the best deal in gaming currently, and it looks like it will continue to be the best deal in gaming with all the games coming day and date to Game Pass. So if they manage to pull that off, then, this is what we're looking at now. This was about selling Game Pass, not selling the Series X, Game Pass. I know I keep going on about it, but that's how we have to look at it from now on. So yeah, I think Halo Infinite certainly coloured my view, and I think it probably coloured a lot of other people's view because they went into the rest of it really disappointed. But the rest of it was okay. It wasn't brilliant, but it was okay. But anyway, look, that's what I think. I know I'm a little bit late to the party on this one, but I was quite busy last week, so I couldn't really talk about it then. Hopefully you like this one, and if you agree with me, give me a thumbs up. If you disagree with me, give me a thumbs down, or better still, come into the comments and let me know what you think, and we can have a chat as ever. But in the meantime, I'm going to go and grab myself a cup of tea, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Bye.
I hope you don't mind pop-ins.